Howdy, howdy. Welcome on into the pre-show before the free show. Happy game day.
Yeah, happy game day, y'all.
It's game day.
Airy around. I was starting to put together my plan for next week, which I'll keep reiterating the plan for next week as far as the show's concerned. Who was sitting? Was this Ish?
I mean, you were in it like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, but I wasn't sitting in it. We were just looking at it. I was starting to put together my plan for next week. And remember, next week is Thanksgiving week, the best week of the year. That's not up for debate. Argue with your mom. We'll have a live show Monday. We'll have a tape show Tuesday, including our Thanksgiving Spectacular, which we need to figure out.
Yes.
We're just producing on the air here. We do need to figure that out. We need to figure out what we're going to do for our Thanksgiving Spectacular. My wife suggested like a pie taste test, and I was like, that's a good idea, but that requires us to go make pies.
That also requires me to like sweets, which...
Yeah, you're not, which is so crazy. I mean,
I'll say this. I do like... I'll have a very small, but I will have a very small piece of, like, pecan pie. I do really like pecan pie because that's not really sweet.
It's interesting because we're a week out from Thanksgiving. It's a week from today. It's a week from today.
Let's go!
But it's funny that, like, as far as holidays are concerned, Thanksgiving is probably the one least centralized around sweets.
Yeah.
Right? Valentine's Day is all about chocolates, right?
Yep.
Or sweet stuff, right? Halloween, obviously, candy. Christmas cookies and stuff like that.
Christmas is like the multitude of every possible dessert coming together.
I feel like I'm cracking the code on you. Because your other favorite holiday is the 4th of July.
Exactly.
And the 4th of July...
Not revolving around sweets.
Burgers and hot dogs and
stuff
like
it's
that,
all, like, those two holidays are meant for, like, stuffing your gut full of, like... hearty meals, you know.
Potato salad.
That rocks.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm finally. We've been working together 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm finally not 5 years. Working together 4 years.
Yep.
And
I'm not very hard to figure out.
I don't know. Counterpoint. Counterpoint. It's taken me 4 years.
Well, that again.
What is that? Who does that say?
Say more about.
Like that. But I was looking back on. Here's full behind the curtain. Bally Sports Southwest has a game of the week, and I am part of a committee that helps to determine what the game of the week is going to be. And so obviously next week is up in the air because A, we don't know who's playing, and B, because the schedule is going to be so wonky.
Yep.
So I went and looked back on last year's regional semifinal schedule, which was Thanksgiving week last year. And there's no Saturday night games. There were only 5 Saturday games, and the latest kick was 3 p.m.
Yep.
It's the latest kick. Nobody plays Saturday night. Friday, you may remember, there's games scattered throughout the course of the day because nobody has school. Nobody has work.
Yep.
Right? Or I guess some people do have work.
We have work.
Well, I mean, we chose this life, though. I mean, like John Q. Public
it's usually,
doesn't have work,
I was going to say, it's sports people or it's people who work in retail.
Yeah.
Because Black Friday is obviously, like, trust me, I would way rather be watching bangers on Texan Live all day than dealing with Black Friday crowds.
That sounds terrible. All that's to say, so there's going to be football. Next Friday is going to be just an all-day football extravaganza.
Yes,
it's going to start at 11 probably. It'll probably be an 11 o'clock game, probably go until 8 o'clock kickoffs. Here's what I'm asking the people, coaches, if you're listening to me. Someone, anyone, needs to have the courage. And you know what I'm talking about.
You want one Thanksgiving Day game.
Got to have the courage. Somebody's got to do it.
No.
We need it. It's been a couple years.
No, there was one last year.
There's one last year?
Step was at one last year. If it wasn't last year, it was the year before.
I think it was the year before.
Okay.
Let me see. I can look this up.
I thought there was one, but it could have. It was there's definitely been one in the past 2 years because Step went to it. I know that.
Yeah. Let me see. Okay.
Step celebrates Canadian Thanksgiving.
Thursday. Did anybody play Thursday last year? It'll probably be a small school.
I thought it was in Heiko. Maybe I'm crazy.
Listening to live coverage of me looking to see if there was a Thursday game last year. There was not a Thursday game last year. Now, let me see if I can find the year before. Because I send. There we go. Here we go. Let me see. Haha! Last year, or I'm sorry, 2021. West Rusk and Dangerfield, 6 o'clock Thursday night at Lobo Stadium in Longview.
That's right.
So Stepp had Lobo popcorn for Thanksgiving dinner.
Correct. Which rocks.
He probably could have just gone over to John King's house.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
That's a new bit for us starting next year. We just need to crash a coach's Thanksgiving, like uninvited.
I'm sure their wives would just really appreciate that.
We would have to pick
not
the right.
Only,
not
only are
there
there
are a couple. Let me ask you a question right now, and we'll get to the show here in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of if you and I show up, okay? I'm holding green bean casserole. You're holding like rolls or something, or a pie or something, right?
Yeah.
We knock on the door.
Wine.
You knock on the door. Do you know, can you think of a coach and more importantly, his spouse that would be like, hell yeah, come on in, let's rock.
Oh my God. Joe Cluley and Courtney Cluley would absolutely say, let's go.
Yeah. The Hydes would do it too.
Yes, the Hydes would absolutely do it. The Hoffmans would do it. They would make sure to give you a lot of crap beforehand. Just
they give me a lot of trouble.
Not me though.
Don Hyde and Kevin Hoffman.
I almost said the Abbotts. The Crawfords.
A lot of Central Texas.
Yeah.
I have met John King's wife, Mrs. King, and she's lovely. I don't think she has a lot of tolerance for me.
That's fair. Neither does John King.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I know for a fact the Cluleys would be all in on that. The Rittemans would do it too.
Like me, you, and Stepp. Like we would have to abandon our families.
Yes.
But I'm trying to because there's a couple that like are no go. I think I'll say this. Scott Surratt would have my head.
Summer would
but
be
his
so
wife
pumped.
his wife loves us.
Yeah.
His wife loves us.
Yeah, Summer's the goat. That's what I was trying to sit there and think is obviously I feel like I would help y'all out a little bit because I've formed so many relationships with the Texas Wives Association that we've got Mallory and I've got a pretty good footprint in the wives category. So I think that I could help that cause.
Yeah, I'll tell you somebody's wife who wouldn't be down with this. Mine. What do you mean you're leaving your children to go to the coach of a 3A high school unannounced for content?
Honey, it's for the bit.
Honey, I don't think you understand. You know that I've committed my entire life to bits.
Do it for the plot.
That's great.
Maybe
that's our Thanksgiving spectacular. If we just show up unannounced.
I haven't met Mrs. Gates, but I feel like Mrs. Gates, and if Coach Gates' barbecue is indicative of like the rest of his food making, we'd be in for. I bet he makes a good turkey.
I'm gonna throw that on Twitter. And
I feel like the Lynns would
say.
Be in on it too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Carlos Lynn would absolutely. Well, because here's the thing, Carlos Lynn is also like he's like a man of the cloth. Like he's like very like he I want to say he was like an assistant pastor at the church. He may still be an assistant pastor at a church, stuff like that. So like he's very much going to be
in on it.
Come on in.
There's even some college coaches I think that we could show up and they'd be like, all right.
Do you think Debbie McGuire would open the door?
Oh my God, yeah, she would. Yes, absolutely.
I think that's probably right. I think the trailers would let us in too.
Oh yeah.
Do you think Jimbo Fisher would let us in?
No. Well, he doesn't have a job.
Hit the theme, Expo. Pickle. Hit the air sign. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show that's choosing its target for showing up unannounced at Thanksgiving. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, texasfootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live at texasfootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places, or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks. She's Ashley Pickle.
1 week until Thanksgiving.
Let's go. This is why we need a soundboard for days like today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a soundboard.
I am a human soundboard.
I'm going to start. Congratulations on adding to your intro. Congratulations to you.
She is the human soundboard.
She is the Duchess of the Dorks. The human soundboard. Ashley Pickle. Today is Thursday, November 16th, 2023. 7 days until Thanksgiving, folks. That's right. 7 days until the finest day of the year. Happy birthday to Pete Davidson.
Okay. Who's he dating now? He's dated like all the big celebrities.
I'll say this.
Wasn't he? Is he still with the Kardashian?
I don't know. I'll say this about Pete Davidson.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's funny.
Yeah. I
think he's funny. I don't get it, though.
I think he's funny. I don't get the attraction.
That's where I'm at.
Like, how has he been able to date every single, like, notorious, very beautiful woman? Like, I mean,
certainly. Now, listen.
Being funny helps.
I am a walking, talking example of if you're funny and charming, you can probably outkick your coverage, right?
Well, I don't know if I would consider you funny and charming.
One person thinks so. The only one that counts. Hi, hon. So I get that. Anyway, he's 30. It's also the 24th birthday of Bull. Happy birthday, Bull.
Nice.
It's episode 1695. On today's show, folks, big show. We're going to roll out the top 10 Texas high school football games of the week in the area round of the Texas high school football playoffs. Bangers only.
Yeah.
It's just heaters only.
Big vibes.
Then we're going to be joined by the head coach of the Cougars of Austin Crockett. Coach Darrick Norton will join us.
Let's go.
This maybe flew under the radar, but Austin Crockett knocked off Waco University last week. And that is their second playoff victory ever. First one since 1997.
Wow. Doing
big things there. He took over. He's got a kind of an amazing story. He took over during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I mean during COVID. Was an interim coach in 2020. Promoted from defensive coordinator. And now has them in the area round of the playoffs. We'll talk with Coach Darrick Norton coming up here in just a bit. And then back half the show, the picks, my high school football predictions for the area round of the Texas high school football playoffs if you stick around with us. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was... Oh, God. Andrew Christensen, Aaron Arbuckle, Big Jiggly Water Balloons, and Ed McElroy. Welcome in, fellas.
Welcome in, folks. We do appreciate your time. Remember, tonight, Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
Mm-hmm.
How many games we got?
Only 2 tonight because it is a very, very, very light Thursday.
Light Thursday. We got 2.
We've got 2, but we will have a ton of Friday games and quite a good bit of Saturday games. Mm-hmm. So last week we were really heavy on Thursday, really light on Saturday. We've flipped the script this week. Yep.
Got it. So,
but they're bangers. We've got Beckville and Garrison and Needville and Lumberton tonight. So, I mean, they're really good games.
I'm going to be 2-screening it because I think I'm going to have Beckville and Garrison on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe on a tiny screen because NFHS Network I might have.
The Coppell Cowboys.
Coppell.
I can confirm. It'll be the normal Coppell crew on that one too.
Nice.
So
good. Do you know Ted Emmerich used to do Coppell games?
Did he do that as a part of KNTU?
Don't know. I would need to ask him, but he used to be the voice of the Coppell Cowboys.
Because most of the guys, like him and Craig Way and all that stuff, they got started at North Texas doing KNTU, and they had their home team. Because I think Craig used to do Louisville.
Yeah.
Fighting Farmers.
Anyway. Big games all across the state. It's the second round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. There's 176 UIL Texas High School Football Playoff games starting tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through and I narrowed down the one out of every 17.6. For the top 10 Texas high school football games of the week. Let's go to the graphic, Pickle. We'll run down my games of the week. We will start Saturday in Frisco at the Star. As the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears take on the Melissa Cardinals. in a 5A Division II area round matchup. A game that we're probably getting 2 weeks earlier than we thought we would. Because when Lovejoy beat Melissa, that knocked Lovejoy over to the bottom half of the bracket, other side of the region, I should say. I don't have it in front of me. And it would make it so that they would not run into the two-time defending champs until the regional final. As a result, we get South Oak Cliff against Melissa, two-time defending champs against the team that was number 1 all year up until week 11. This is rare. Fascinating matchup. South Oak Cliff, we know what they're about. I think their running game's really gotten going with Danny Green and company. Their offense is a little bit more diverse, and their offense is a little bit more reliable than it was last year. You remember last year, it was just like fits and starts. You never really know what you got.
Yeah, they would either drop 40 on you or it would be a 14-17 battle.
But the defense is – I would say the defense was obviously elite last year.
Yes.
It's still very good, but probably not – that's an impossible bar, right?
Yeah, last year's defense was ridiculous.
Last year's defense literally had a college secondary. Taking on Melissa. Melissa looked invincible for 9 games and then ran to Lovejoy and kind of laid an egg. We know what they're about. Carson Maynard on the outside, Trevor Ham, their quarterback, Nathan Otojoku, their running back. The thing that fascinates me about this, and the reason that I think this is a fantastic game, Melissa is one of the very few teams in all of 5A Division II who can match up with South Oak Cliff up front.
Yep.
Their front seven
They're big.
defensively is nasty. Nigel Smith and Gunnar Wilson, nasty. And their offensive line is huge and can match up with that front seven for South Oak Cliff. That's what's fascinating about this game. Saturday nightcap, we're ending it with the bang.
At the Star.
At the Star in Frisco, 7 o'clock on Saturday at the Star. Then, let's go to
the computer's darling,
Comalander Stadium in San Antonio. 7 o'clock Friday night, Comalander Stadium in San Antonio. 4A Division I action as the Bernie Greyhounds take on the Lavernia Bears. And Lavernia is interesting. I'll tell you, I mentioned this on Tep and Step. I'll tell you who loves Lavernia. The computer. Because they have two, in the middle of the season, they have 2 one-score losses to good teams, to Sinton and Calhoun. They have annihilated everyone else. They have dog-walked everyone else. And their quarterback, Keegan Hayek, has been excellent. Their wide receiver, Colton Schmidt's putting up crazy numbers. Bernie, the scary thing about Bernie, I would say, is that they are getting healthy. They are getting healthy.
Jackson's back
at the right time, right? This is a team that is starting to play. Jackson Bays is back. They have been excellent. Once they get him back, Hudson Hendricks at the defensive, the linebacker spot has been very good. For Lavernia, it's like, I hate to say it, but like rent is due. Like, we're gonna find out about Lavernia. You get an opportunity to knock off a certified state contender. There's a real argument to be made that this is for the Region 4 championship.
Yes.
Bernie and Lavernia's certified banger. Then, let's go 7 o'clock Friday night at one of my favorite stadiums in America, Mesquite Memorial Stadium, as the Longview Lobos take on the Frisco Reedy Lions.
Live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
You can watch them Lobos take on them Reedy Lions. We've talked a lot about Longview. We kind of know what they're about. Taylor Tatum's been excellent. They need a big game from Andrew Tutt. And this is, and we know what they do defensively. Their defense has been elite all year long, and especially at the back half of the defense when you got guys like Willie Nelson and Buda Garrett there in the back end. Frisco Reedy is 10-1. They have a last play loss to Lone Star, which is why they're in this situation. But since then, they've been excellent. Tristan Airy, their running back, has been very good. They have a number of different weapons on the outside, receiving, most notably Connor McGrath. And for the most part, their defense has been very good. Basically, outside of the Lone Star game, their defense has been very good. What happens when they match up against Longview? Are they able to run the ball? That's a big question in this one. And can Longview, what can they get from their quarterback, Andrew Tutt? If they get a good game from Andrew Tutt, they're going to win this game. If they don't, it's going to be dicey. Fascinating game in 5A Division I. Then, one of the under-the-radar games of the week, 7 o'clock Friday night, at Traylor Stadium in Rosenberg. It is the undefeated Fulshire Chargers taking on the A&M Consolidated Tigers. And this game is really interesting. If you just want home runs hit, you'll have
Pointsy.
them. Fulshire can score. Davian Godley, Patrick Broadway, Deuce Barrington, they can score. A&M Consolidated is no slouch. Will Hargett, I've been really impressed with his growth, and they got a huge game last week from their wide receiver Peyton Bjork. Who can come up with stops? Last year, this was an area round matchup, and it was 50-38, right? It's pointsy. I do think Fulshire's defense has gotten better. I think A&M Consolidated's defense is pretty good. This comes down to can A&M Consolidated come up with a couple defensive splash plays, I think. Huge game there in 5A Division I as well, Fulshire and A&M Consolidated. Then, let's go to 6A Division I, 7 o'clock Friday night at Delmar Stadium in Houston.
Live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
The Houston Lamar Texans at 11-0 take on the 9-2 Fort Bend Ridgepoint Panthers. I talk about this in the picks. I don't want to spoil it, but for Lamar, it's time to start paying attention. It's just really time to start paying attention to what Lamar is doing. They're 11-0, and they're smashing fools. Okay? They are not – I am ready to tell you they're not just the best Houston ISD team.
Oh, yeah. No, that was proven clear last week.
They are legit when they smash Jersey Village. Okay?
That was like the same level as like Lavernia. We know you're good, but how good are you actually? That was their calling game.
The money matchup here is the Lamar defense, which has given up 4.5 points a game, taking on this Fort Bend Ridgepoint offense, which has got Austin Carlisle, and then they have one of the most exciting and electrifying players in Houston in Ashton Bethel Roman, their wide receiver. He is fun to watch. Can Lamar contain him? This is a big test for Lamar. It's probably their biggest test since they beat the Woodlands back in non-district. We will find out what Houston Lamar is about because they're taking on a very dangerous Fort Bend Ridgepoint team. That's coming up at Delmar Stadium Friday night. Then let's go to the Panhandle. 7 o'clock Friday night at Happy State Bank Stadium in Canyon as the New Home Leopards take on the Sunray Bobcats. And
yeah, boy.
I think this is for the Region 1 title. If you are – this is – Ishmael Johnson and I were talking about this yesterday. And I mean this sincerely. This might be the best quarterback matchup in the state this week.
Literally, and that's what's so funny is it's like usually we would never be talking about a 2A game and going, hey, if you're a prospect hound, like here's the game that you want to watch. It literally might be this one.
2A D2 even.
Yeah.
Like it's Caleb Cook for New Home.
Which Ish is completely on the Caleb Cook bandwagon.
He is on the bandwagon. And, of course, it's Armando Luan, who was the state's leading passer last year, leading that Sunray
Who you
offense.
drive the bandwagon
I drive the bandwagon. It's mine. It's my bandwagon. I bought it. This is a huge game. My question is New Home tested? Yep. Sunray has seen a team, I think, on par with New Home. Now, they haven't beaten them, right? Your mileage may vary on Groover. Stratford is a state-ranked undefeated 2A D1 team. Is New Home tested? New Home has their best win is over Roscoe, and that was a 7-point win. Everyone else they've smoked. It's gut check time for New Home. Massive game, Sunray and New Home going on in Canyon. Then, tonight in East Texas, this game is going down in
Lobo Stadium.
Lobo Stadium. Thank you. Beautiful Lobo Stadium. 7 o'clock Thursday night. That's tonight. In 2A Division 1 as the Beckville Bearcats take on the Garrison Bulldogs.
Live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
With Matt Stepp in the house, eating Lobo popcorn. And this is the good stuff right here.
Oh, this rocks.
This is the goods. Beckville both these teams have one loss. Both to the same team. Both Timpson. Beckville made a huge change after that, and they moved Jacoby Williams to quarterback. And they have been smoking fools ever since.
Yes.
They're averaging almost 60 points a game. Their offense has been silly. Taking on Garrison, whose defense has been very strong all year long. And, oh, by the way, they can put up some points on you, too. I've said before, their two-headed monster at the running back spot, Omarion Raspberry and Javian Black, scary hours, okay? This game's going to be a lot of fun for, I think, probably the right to play Timpson again in a regional final. Huge game, Beckville and Garrison going on tonight. Then, let's go to the 6-man ranks. 7 o'clock Friday night in Hermleigh, as the Klondike Cougars take on the Whit-Harrell Panthers in a really interesting Region 1 showdown. The winner of this game, I think, will get Balmoral, although Balmoral's got Silverton, and the computer really likes Silverton. Okay. Klondike was a team we had high hopes for, and they've been as advertised. Creed Warren's been great, and the addition of Jared Quintanilla, who's been a sophomore for them, has been huge for Klondike. Whit-Harrell's defense has been outstanding, led by Namar Gomez. They want to play they want to win with their defense. Klondike's probably want to get this score up. Whit-Harrell probably wants to keep this score in the 40s, the 30s to 40s, which by six-man standards is a low-scoring game. Fascinating game tomorrow night in Hermleigh, Klondike and Whit-Harrell. Now, let's go 7:30 p.m. Friday night in Seguin at Matador Stadium as the 11-0 Westlake Chaparrals take on the 11-0 San Antonio Reagan Rattlers in the latest installment of San Antonio versus Austin. Mm-hmm. It's what this is. It's what this is all about. I think Reagan, depending on what you think of Cibolo Steel, is either the best or the second best team in San Antonio.
Yep.
Brad Jackson, I think, has added a new element to that offense. They have been fun to watch, and more importantly, I think their defense is really legit, giving up about 13 points a game. I think they moved Caleb Capuccio over to wide receiver. He has been a star. And they can run the ball a bit as well with Cole Pryor. He's almost a 1,500-yard rusher. We know what Westlake's about, right? Westlake is about defense. They've been cycling through a various number of running quarterbacks, but it doesn't make any difference because this is Jack Kaiser's game. This is a game where they're going to hand the ball to Jack Kaiser 25, 30 times. They're running back. For Reagan, this is a matter of going stop for stop with Westlake because their defense has been excellent all year long. Huge game. San Antonio has been the little brother to Austin the past few years. Can Reagan bring home what would be a massive, massive victory for the Alamo City? And then, finally, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Friday night at Crowley ISD Stadium in Fort Worth, live on Bally Sports Southwest. It is the Abilene Eagles taking on the Denton Ryan Raiders in a huge 5A Division I clash. Denton Ryan has really found their identity in running the ball. I think that they moved Braden Mussett over to quarterback, and they've just kind of run power spread. Their running game has been great. Abilene just got done hanging 84 on El Paso Hanks. So that's the thing that happened. And their running game has been elite. Mm-hmm. Elite. Guys like Braden Henry and Bam Rayshaw, they've gotten him back from injury. He's been great. And by the way, their quarterback, Dylan Slack, can throw it a little bit as well. Can Abilene stop the run? That's the ball game here. Can Abilene stop the run? If they do, they are good enough to beat Ryan. Ryan has established an identity now after kind of futzing around for a couple weeks. Fascinating game, Ryan and Abilene. Of course, you can watch the biggest games, the biggest moments live, free everywhere. Tomorrow night on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and TexanLive.com. And you can watch dozens and dozens of live Texas high school football playoff games this weekend, starting tonight. If you go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe, become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. There it is, my top 10 Texas high school football games of the week. We are at Texas Football Tonight. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at TCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Coming up here in just a moment, we'll talk with the head coach of the area round-bound Austin Crockett Cougars. Coach Darrick Norton will join us. But first, a word from these goods and services.
I feel like bustin' loose, bustin' loose. Come on, get on up. Oh yeah, get on up. Bustin' loose when you wanna sing. Bustin' loose, baby, do your thing. Talking about bustin' loose, yeah.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Wing is the largest residential drone delivery provider in the world, delivering to your home in less than 30 minutes. Order using an app just like other popular delivery services, and Wing's automated drone takes care of the rest. It's fast, safe, and sustainable, and it's now delivering to parts of Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. You can learn more at wing.com/TexasFootball. Again, that's wing.com/TexasFootball.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texans love doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
Back here on Texas Football Today, a reminder, dozens of live Texas high school football games this weekend on TexanLive.com, available to our subscribers. If you go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. And by the way, it makes a great gift. And if you want to get out in front of the gift giving thing, don't mess with Black Friday. Go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Give your loved ones the gift of football. And it's one of those things where I understand that a subscription, maybe what do I get now? What can I wrap up under the tree? You can wrap up live Texas high school football games and just give it to them now and be like, hey, listen, I love you and I want you to be happy and I want you to be able to watch Beckville and Garrison tonight. So here you go. TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber.
And if you do it now, then you get to watch the rest of the playoffs. So it's why wait until the state semifinals when you could just watch the rest of the thing?
And that's a good point. We have games up until the state semifinals. So this week.
We have state semifinals.
Next week. The week after that. If you subscribe today, you get 4 rounds of playoffs. Seems pretty good. We're efforting to get Darrick Norton, the head coach of the Austin Crockett Cougars, here on Texas Football Today. He's a busy man, so we're gonna try him again. We may end up flipping things and going to the picks, but we'll find out exactly what happens coming up here in just a moment. So go to TexasFootball.com. I published a piece on TexasFootball.com today about the biggest upsets in Texas high school football playoffs in the past 20 years. So if you want to go see where yours ranks, you can go to TexasFootball.com. I've got a piece up. The headline is "Ranking the Stunners: The 46 biggest upsets in Texas high school football playoffs in the last 20 years. So go check that out on TexasFootball.com. You can find where your team ranks. And I capped it based on the computer rankings. I capped it at 20 points. So if you are a 20-point underdog, then if you're a 19-point underdog. So for example, if somebody got in to ask me about, there's a South Grand Prairie upset somebody a couple years ago, and I looked it up, and it was only a 17-point upset. A huge upset nonetheless, but that is, you can go check that out at TexasFootball.com. I rank the 46 biggest upsets in Texas high school football of the last 20 years. Pickle, let's go to the hotline. We're pleased to be joined by a man who is doing what hasn't been done at his school in quite some time, which is getting ready for a second-round playoff game. We're joined by the head coach of the Austin Crockett Cougars, Coach Darrick Norton. Coach, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for your time. You guys last week, made a little bit of history with the first playoff win, just the second playoff win in program history, and the first playoff win since the mid-'90s. What was the reaction like whenever you guys polished off that win over Waco University?
There was a lot of tears, jumping for joy. My defensive coordinator was shucking and jiving in the locker room afterwards. He's 70 years old, so seeing him dance it was pretty good. it's a sigh of relief, kind of a rubber stamp on us. What we've been preaching to the boys about hard work will pay off in the end. You just got to keep fighting, got to keep working hard. So.
Well, and you guys, you took over as in an interim capacity in 2020, and since then you guys make the playoffs in last year and then get this playoff win now. Is this following the rough schedule that you had in your mind of how you guys are going to build the Cougars into a perennial contender?
I think the first step, taking over as an interim was trying to just survive through that year, and just get the key that year was just making sure we could feel the team and get on the field. And then we finally got an off season. We were really young. So the seniors, I'm senior heavy. They were sophomores at that time. So it was all about player development, getting these kids bigger, faster, stronger, smarter, football IQ, better students in the classroom, better young men overall. And really taking it slow, to build not only their physical but also their mental confidence. And we had to learn some lessons. If you were starting from scratch, the kids don't know, they get uncomfortable in certain situations, like if it's a close game or we have a game with a bunch of turnovers or something might happen. They had to kind of experience those type of things to get them to this point.
Talking with Darrick Norton, head coach of the Austin Crockett Cougars here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TFToday. Coach, you guys have 7 wins. That's already the most wins you guys have had in a season since that 1997 season, last time you guys won a playoff game. Coming into the year, flash it back. Did you feel like this could be the year that you guys really have that breakthrough? Was there 1 or 2 things that had you excited coming into the year that have now obviously led to this point?
Well, I was excited about my senior class. We've seen them grow over the last couple of years, and I have some really talented kids and a lot of hardworking kids. And seeing how last couple of years the teams we played, especially in our district, have been senior heavy, and now they were kind of reloading. We knew we had a veteran group that could really compete, so we thought that we'd be able to take these steps. Beginning of the year, it's been a while. I think almost 20 years since we won the first game of the year, and that was a goal. And then we did that against Highlands down at the Alamo Dome to start the year off, and that really got the ball rolling. And then, like I said earlier, there's some events that happen, injuries, turnovers, and went 1-3 before district really started. So we just regrouped, did what we needed to do, and we hit most of the goals for this season.
One of those seniors who has been so important for you guys, and it's hard not to talk about him when you talk about the Crockett Cougars, is your QB1 is Cameron Dickey. This is a guy who's got 46 touchdowns on the year. He's over 3,200 total yards. The numbers are astounding, but you're the guy who gets to see him in the locker room. You get to see him every day in practice. What is it about Cameron Dickey that makes him special?
Football aside, he's just a genuine human being. I mean, he's very quiet. He never, you never catch him walking the halls or getting in trouble. That's not the kind of kid he is. He's graduating early, so he can go to Tech, and that kind of translates to the football field. He does so many things for us because he loves the game, and he's the kind of kid that you just want to be around. He's got an infectious smile. He's a kind of a silent leader. He doesn't really like that title of being called a leader, but I tell him all the time, I said, your play on the field sets the example. And he just does what he does, man. He's just a good kid.
He's been absolutely remarkable and the clear leader of your team offensively. I want to talk about the other side because you are a defensive guy. And last year you guys gave up about 30 points a game. This year you guys are cruising, cutting that down to about 18 points a game. It was last week against Waco U. Your defense stood on its head in a fantastic victory. What on this defensive side is working for you guys? What has you excited?
They just fly to the ball. They believe in the scheme. We're a little light in the as far as height and weight, so we have to make the scheme fit the kids. and really attack what the offense wants to do. We try to take that away the first and foremost, and really it's the boys is playing hard. They love to hit. I mean, that's a great advantage to them, is that they love the contact, and they love football. So as a group, I think I got 8 seniors on that defense. They study hard, so they're well prepared for the games, and they just get after it. I think we created somewhere around 32 or 34 turnovers this year, so that's helped keep that number down.
You guys are, you got a pretty remarkable story yourself. You're a Marion guy. You go up to Minnesota, Crookston, to study, and then you were in the Marine Corps from 1992 to 2000. My question for you is how much does Marine Corps coach come out during practice during a week? How much do we see the Marine Corps coming through in your everyday coaching life?
Well, I wouldn't say too much in practice. I would say more in the off season. There's a every day in the Marine Corps you get up and you PT with a physical train, and it's basic calisthenics. Just jumping jacks, push-ups, those type of things. That was one of the first things I brought in, was ensuring that all the boys respected each other's struggle. So when everybody's doing the exercises together, they can look over and see someone's working just as hard as they are, because they're all on the same count. And then that translates to the field later on. When they're tired and beat up and they look over and their teammates tired and beat up, they know that their brother's in this fight with them. And that's part I think is really part of the Marine Corps that I want them to get, was that one is esprit de corps, and then the band of brothers, that we're going to go to battle with each other and we'll be there for each other.
You guys are going to battle tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. at Buffalo Stadium in Giddings. Coach, to be the man, you got to beat the man. You get the number one team in the state, the Montgomery Lake Creek Lions. I don't want to ask you to give away your game plan to everybody, but when you take a look at what you're going to be up against tomorrow night, what do you see?
I see a big, fast, physical football team, well coached. They do their assignments at a high level. They play all 3 phases very well. So it's going to be a nice, I won't say test, but a nice experience for our whole football program in the school, to see the level of the power schools in our division. So I'm looking forward for us to go through tomorrow night and learn some lessons, play hard, give one the ball.
Yeah.
And just really have fun, because we've outlived expectations this year. So we've all been talking about, this is a bonus game for us. It really is. And we really just want to go in there and show the world that, hey, Crockett's got some ball players down here. They're doing things right. They're doing their community proud. And that's really what it all comes down to.
He's Darrick Norton. He's the head coach of those area round-bound Austin Crockett Cougars. Coach, we sure appreciate your time. Congratulations again on all your success so far. And, hey, go get them tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all, and thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Coach. There he goes. Darrick Norton, head coach of the Austin Crockett Cougars. They're underdogs. I think he embraces the underdog role.
Oh, yeah.
They're underdogs. You know what, though? They're underdogs last week.
I was going to say, and this always goes back, we always get to about this round of the playoffs when people are going, there's too many teams in the playoffs. Like, how can you listen to a coach talk about how much this means to his team, even though there's a good chance that they go and they get blown out tomorrow? And I think that he knows that. But that's what's awesome. Like, there was tears on the field because they won just one singular playoff game.
He talked about their defensive coordinator shucking and jiving at the age of 70.
70. Like,
that rocks.
You can't recreate that.
And I'm just going to say this, okay? I'm just going to say, is this game on NFHS Network?
Yes.
Okay. Crockett and Lake Creek. I want to be clear. Like, Lake Creek's the favorite. Should be the favorite, okay? Number one team in the state. Mm-hmm. If you have not seen Cameron Dickey, this dude is an electric factory, okay? This dude is fun to watch. And I think he's going to test Lake Creek. Not putting in the upset call. I'm just saying, keep an eye on that one because I think it's going to be fun. He mentioned it, this is a bonus game. They've already outlived their expectations, but the arrow is pointing way up with Darrick Norton and those Austin Crockett Cougars. We appreciate his time. We're at Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Oh, pickle. It is the area round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. 176 UIL Texas High School Football Playoff games scattered hither, scattered yon, scattered tonight, scattered Saturday, and everywhere in between. I picked all 176 of them. Let's find out who I picked, because I forgot, with the picks on Texas Football Today.
It's the area round of the 2023 Texas High School Football Playoffs. Half the teams, twice the pressure. These are the picks. Welcome into the picks, your guide to the Texas High School football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and welcome to the second round of the 2023 Texas High School Football Playoffs, the area round across the state of Texas. We had 352 UIL Texas High School Football Playoff games last week. I picked all 352 of them. I got 296 of them right, 84%. The haters are furious. But we're now into the area round, and things are getting down to the nitty-gritty. You've got massive matchups everywhere across the state. So much so that, once again, much to the chagrin of our esteemed editor, Mallory Hartley, I'm picking all 176 UIL Texas High School football games this week. They're either scrolling on this side, or I'm going to mention it out loud. To be clear, save your comments. I picked all of them. I promise you they're there. If I don't mention it out loud, it's over here. If it's not over here, I'll mention it out loud. Got it? Cool. Huge games everywhere. We start in Rosenberg. 7 o'clock Friday night at Traylor Stadium in Rosenberg. It is a 5A Division I area round matchup between the Full Shear Chargers and the A&M Consolidated Tigers. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, home run derby. No, you didn't stumble upon a baseball video. Instead, this is about football, and it's about the big plays that are going to be hit on Friday night, because both of these offenses are explosive and can ignite at the snap of a finger. On the Full Shear side, they have got big-time playmakers everywhere you look, most notably their running back, Davion Godley, who has been just out of this world. He's been so good this year. Patrick Broadway has been great as well. They've got a big-time quarterback in Deuce Barrington as well. This team is loaded. They've got playmakers all over the field. A&M Consolidated has got plenty of firepower themselves, led by their quarterback, Will Hargett, and a big-time receiver in Peyton Bjork, who was almost unstoppable last week in their by-district win. So, in a game that figures to have a bunch of big plays, who hits more of them? Key number 2, Agent Zero. Let's talk about numeral 0, Keyshawn Thomas for A&M Consolidated, because I think he's a real game breaker in this contest. He's their special teams dynamo. He is their defensive stalwart, the guy who comes up with the big plays defensively. And it would not be a surprise to me to see him get more run offensively in this game, because it's all hands on deck. It's win or go home, and I feel like Brandon Schmidt is going to pull out all the stops and use his best player all over the field. Keyshawn Thomas is a game breaker every time he lines up in the formation. How will he impact Friday night's ball game? And key number 3, revenge or repeat. If this game feels familiar, it's because we've seen it before. We saw it this time last year in the area round where these two teams matched up, and Full Shear came away with a 50-38 win. Davion Godley had a huge game, 100 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, and Full Shear ran away with what was, to date, their biggest win in program history. Now, for A&M Consolidated, a lot of those guys who were on that team last year are back. Bjork, Hargett, Trey Taylor, Keyshawn Thomas. A lot of those guys remember what it feels like to get knocked out by Full Shear. But this Full Shear team also looks like they've taken a step as well. So, on Friday night in Rosenberg, will we see revenge or repeat? Who am I picking? I'm going with Fulshear. The Chargers get the nod here because of the big playability they have offensively and something we haven't talked about a ton. Their defense is pretty stout. I really like what they're able to do, especially in the secondary. I think they have a way of maybe containing this A&M Consolidated offense. Now, I think that A&M Consolidated has got a great shot in this game, especially if they can get the running game going. That balance is going to put this Fulshear defense on its heels a little bit and allow the Tigers to make some big plays. In the end, I think this game is close and actually plays out a lot like it did last year. A bit high scoring. I think the result is the same. Give me the Chargers to move on to the regional semifinals. Let's go to 6A Division I, but stay in Houston. 7 o'clock Friday night at Del Mar Stadium in H-Town. It is a 6A Division I area-round matchup between the Houston Lamar Texans and the Fort Bend Ridgepoint Panthers. And it is time to start talking about Houston Lamar in very serious terms. Okay? It's time to consider them as a contender. I think there's this idea, they're just the best Houston ISD team, right? They just go and beat up on other Houston ISD teams. Well, take a look at the resume. They've won over Pasadena Dobie. They've won over the Woodlands. This team has been legit all year long, and last week they absolutely crushed Jersey Village en route to this area-round matchup, and I love what they bring to the table. Their quarterback, Jordan Reeves, has been very strong. Their defense, giving up less than 4.5 points per game, led by Trevin Williams. They are serious business, and it's time to start paying attention to what Michael Lindsay's Texans have cooking. This is a huge test this week, though, against Ridgepoint, which is one of the hottest teams in Houston. Started off 0-2, have won 9 straight, and have looked excellent doing it. Quarterback Austin Carlisle is really starting to hit his groove, and they have one of the most explosive playmakers in all of Houston in Ashton Bethel Roman, their wide receiver. He's got to have a big game in this one to get past this Texans defense. I think this game is fascinating, and a lot of it comes down to what you think of this Texans team. Are they for real, or are they just the best of Houston ISD? I think they're for real. I think Lamar's through the regional semifinals. Let's go to 4A Division I now. 7 o'clock Friday night at Comalander Stadium in San Antonio. It's a 4A Division I area-round matchup between the Lavernia Bears and the Bernie Greyhounds. We haven't talked a ton about Lavernia lately. I think it's because they lost 2 straight one-score games in the middle of the year, but they've kind of crushed everyone else, and they are rolling right now. Their wide receiver Colton Schmidt is putting up crazy numbers right now, and dual threat quarterback Keegan Hayek has been really strong for this Lavernia team. They are serious gravy. They will need to be so against this Bernie team that is getting healthy. Jackson Bays is back, and is back at quarterback and is doing his thing. He has been terrific since coming back from injury, and that defense, led by Hudson Hendricks, has been shutting the door. There's a fair argument to be made that these are the 2 best teams in Region 4. I think Bernie gets the edge in this one. I think the Greyhounds come away with a very narrow win. Let's go east. 7 o'clock Friday night at Pirate Stadium in Pittsburgh. It's a 3A Division II area-round matchup between the Dangerfield Tigers and the Hooks Hornets. Dangerfield's kind of hard to get a read on. They have 3 losses on the year, but they're all pretty good teams. And I do think that their defense has been really strong all year long. Their playmaker, Chase Johnson, is all over the field, offense, defense, does a little bit of everything. He will need to be so against Hooks this week. Hooks scored 92 points last week. So that's a thing that happened. The Hornets have been out of this world, and folks out in East Texas are talking about this Hooks team as one of the most talented teams in all of East Texas, and it's time to start paying attention to what they're doing. Keyshawn Walls, their running back, has been unbelievable, and they have a sophomore quarterback in Ripken Birdwell who is really stepping up to the plate in a big way. Now, last week they gave up 50-plus points as well to Edgewood, so their defense is going to need to step up in a big way, but I do think that this Hooks team is for real, and I think they come away with a close win. Give me the Hornets. Let's go to the Panhandle. 7 o'clock Friday night at Happy State Bank Stadium in Canyon. It is a 2A Division II area-round matchup between the Sunray Bobcats and the New Home Leopards, and I think this is the Region 1 title game. Like, if I were to pick right now, I'd say that the winner of this game is the favorite to make it to a state semifinal and maybe even beyond. New Home is undefeated and has looked absolutely dominant in every one of their games. They're winning games by an average of 42 points per game. They are outstanding. Quarterback Caleb Cook has been terrific, and Logan Addison in the middle of that defense has been rock solid for the Leopards. But are they tested? That's the real question. Have they played anybody that is going to measure up to what they're going to see on Friday when Sunray comes to town? Because the Sunray team, we know what they're about. They have 2 losses on the year, but they're both to pretty darn good ball clubs, and we know what they're about offensively. The Sunray offense has been terrific. Armando Luan is back on his game, absolutely slinging it around, and their defense has been mostly great all year long. Now, a couple weeks ago, they got touched up against Groover, and they're going to need to shore some things up if they're going to get past New Home. Now, I've been a believer in Sunray all year long. I'm not hopping off the bandwagon at the very last moment. This game is a coin flip, though. It's going to be one of the best games of the week. I think the Bobcats move on to the regional semifinals. And let's talk some 6-man football. 7 o'clock Friday night in Hermleigh. It's a 1A Division II area round matchup between the Klondike Cougars and the Whit-Harrell Panthers. A massive Region 1 clash in 1A Division II between 2 state-ranked ball clubs that have looked very good all year long. For Klondike, Creed Warren has been as advertised. This is a guy that we had high hopes for, and he has delivered. Has been terrific. And the emergence of the sophomore, Jared Quintanilla, has given them that extra weapon that really makes Coach Dalton DeGraff and Reed's Ball Club really difficult to defend. Going up against Whit-Harrell, who has one of the better defenses in all of 6-man football, Namar Gomez leads this outstanding Panthers defense, and he will need to be great to slow down this Klondike attack. What's interesting about this ball game is neither one of these teams have really had to chase all that much this year. Somebody's going to fall behind. What happens then? Who has that little extra gusto to put them over the top? This game's going to be close, and I think the winner of this game may be the favorite to win Region 1. I think Klondike has the very slight edge. But those are far from the only big games in the area round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Remember, I'm either going to mention your game out loud or it's scrolling on this side of the screen. Let's get to the lightning round. In 6A Division I, I'm going with North Crowley over Odessa Permian. Big matchup of unbeatens. I like Austin Westlake over San Antonio Reagan. And give me Klein Collins to take down the Woodlands. 6A Division II now. Give me McKinney in a close one over Highland Park. And in a matchup of high-octane offenses, I like Willis over Tomball Memorial. Give me Houston Stratford in a close one over Richmond George Ranch. And Weslaco's dream season continues. They get a win over San Antonio J. Interesting cross-regional matchups in 5A Division I. I like Aledo over Lubbock Cooper. Give me Longview to take down Frisco Reedy, and Corpus Christi Miller wins a close one over Edinburgh Vela. 5A Division II now. Give me Argyle to take down Abilene Wiley, and I think we lose our first defending state champ this week. I think Melissa takes down South Oak Cliff. Richmond Randall stays hot with a win over Belton, and Alamo Heights stays perfect with a win over Gregory Portland. 4A Division I now. I like Frisco Panther Creek over Waco La Vega. Give me Kilgore to take down Bay City, and Springtown gets a win over El Paso Riverside. To 4A Division II we go. I like Canyon West Plains over Graham, and give me Aubrey over Van. Sinton outmuscles Lago Vista, and Cuero sneaks by Hampshire Finette. 3A Division I we go. I like Clyde over Shallowater, and Malakoff keeps rolling with a win over Mount Vernon. And what may be the Region 4 title game, I like Jourdanton in a close one over Edna, and give me Lorena over Palestine Westwood. 3A Division II now. I like Crane over Lubbock Roosevelt. Give me Poth over East Bernard, and I like Jacksboro to stay perfect with a win over Bells. To 2A Division I we go. I like Marlin over Coleman, and the defending state champs get a scare, but I think Hawley beats Panhandle. Mason stays perfect with a win over Ganado, and a huge game out east. I like Beckville over Garrison. To 2A Division II we go. I like Dawson over Tenaha. Give me Chilton to take down Agua Dulce, and I'm going with Wink to beat Munster. And down in 6-man football in 1A Division II, I like Iredell over Bynum. In 1A Division I, the dream season for Miami continues. They get a win over Spring Lake Earth, and in a battle of unbeatens, I like Abbott over Union Hill. And those are the picks. I picked all 176 UIL Texas High School Football Playoff games this weekend. I either mentioned it out loud or is scrolling on this side of the screen. So now you can let me know, what am I wrong about? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com, where you can find complete coverage of the 2023 Texas High School Football Playoffs at texasfootball.com/playoffs. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the second round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. We'll see you.
There's the picks. All 176 UIL Texas High School football games this weekend. As usual, I guarantee I got at least one of those right. I got 296 of them right last week. 296 and 56, I think is the numbers. Yeah, 296, 56. That's 84%. If I can shoot 84% again this week, like, hang the banner.
Yeah.
You know, like, 80% is like my goal. I need to get 80% each week.
Yeah, that seems good.
If you get 80%, that's good. You can make it happen. But yeah, we'll see. And by the way, if you missed, I did pick all 176 games. I promise you they're on there. Okay, I triple checked. But if you missed, if it was like on the scroll, you missed one, or you were looking at your phone or something, it's on YouTube. You can go check that out. It's also on TexasFootball.com. You can go see that. Let's go to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts?
Not coming up at 2 o'clock today is WTF.
What?
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks in a row.
So this one's a legitimate thing.
The last one wasn't?
Last one I just accidentally scheduled wrong, and it worked out great for us. This one, our kitchen sink is broken. And we've been trying to get a plumber to come out and fix it since Monday. And this afternoon was their only availability that they were able to squeeze us in until next week. Now, okay, whatever. We could probably make it work without it. But I'm hosting Thanksgiving next week, and I cannot be rolling the dice on not having a kitchen sink. So I looked at Mallory and was like, we live together. One of us has got to get out there. I've got a lot of stuff to do for the show, so she took the fall and is waiting for the plumber. So it was a life decision that we had to make to cancel WTF, and that's what happens. So
the sink is clogged?
Yeah, something is wrong with it. It's a double sink with like the thing in the middle, and so when we run it down one of the drains, it starts to bubble up and come out the other one. It might be as much as they just need to get in there and snake it, and it'll be fine. I didn't have a snake, and I have not had time this week to go do it. So it was like, okay, let's just go.
We ran into a similar issue a couple weeks ago. We ran into a similar issue where it was like our upstairs sink was just like, it was not, like the boys' sink was not draining and stuff. And so we tried everything and couldn't get it, ended up having to call a plumber. And it was definitely above my pay grade because it turned out that it was something to do with like the air conditioner.
All right.
Like, because that has water, and I don't know. They don't pay me to think.
Cooling.
I don't know about plumbing. But yeah, it was something. It was like, oh no, that's something busted with the air conditioner. We have to go fix it. There was nothing you could do. Which I felt good about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And it was
because here's the thing. I'm sorry to interrupt, but like if he comes over and he's like, oh, all you have to do is flip the switch.
Yep.
Then it's like.
Yeah, I got under there, and I looked, and luckily nothing's busted by any stretch, and so I did have some Drano on me and was like, okay, let's just put some of this, but it's already so clogged that you can't get it. And, yeah. So the other thing, too, is we rent, and so technically having a plumber come out there is, like, free of charge to us. So I was like, I could get down under here and really do some work, or I have a lot of other things they can be doing, and they can just send someone, and it doesn't cost me anything. So we decided to go with that. Anyway, Mallory is back at home waiting for our plumber to get there.
So WTF, folks.
No WTF. That being said.
And no WTF next week either. You're going to go 3 weeks. We're going to go a month. It's a month without WTF. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. You can riot.
What are we even doing here?
That being said.
We designed a logo and everything.
Yeah, that's true. We are doing Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight, which is like a lot of the other reason why it's nice to not have another show happening right now. But we will be announcing the spotlight games on social media, so be checking it out there.
Texas Football tonight.
I guess we'll update you on Monday if our sync got fixed.
Guess we'll find out. It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to our guest, Darrick Norton, head coach of the Austin Crockett Cougars. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please meet your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.